The year was 2157. Humanity had spread beyond Earth, building thriving colonies on Mars and Europa. Life was good. Progress was steady. No one expected that everything would change on a quiet Tuesday morning. On Europa's Deep Space Monitoring Station, Officer Frank Wilson stared at his screen, blinking in disbelief. "Sir," he called to his supervisor, "multiple objects just entered the solar system. They're moving impossibly fast." Within an hour, Earth Defense Force headquarters buzzed with activity. Captain Alan Wright stood before the Emergency Council, his face grim but determined. "The objects will reach Jupiter's orbit in 3 days. We need to make contact before they get any closer to Earth," he said. The council agreed. Captain Wright would take the EDF flagship Intrepid to meet these visitors. Dr. Olivia Grant, Earth's best xenolinguist, would join him to establish communication. As the Intrepid prepared for departure, Alan studied Olivia's face. She looked excited rather than afraid. 20 years exploring our own solar system, and now we finally meet our neighbors, she said, smiling. "This changes everything, Alan." "Let's hope it changes things for the better," he replied. 3 days later, the Intrepid waited at the planned interception point. The crew watched in awe as the alien ships emerged from light speed. Their vessels were massive, gleaming structures that made the Intrepid look like a child's toy. "My God," whispered Alan. "Each one is the size of Manhattan." The largest ship moved forward. Its design was both beautiful and terrifying, all smooth curves and sharp angles that seemed to defy human engineering. Dr. Grant activated the first contact protocol, broadcasting carefully designed mathematical sequences and basic language structures on all frequencies. For 6 tense hours, there was no response. Then suddenly, a beam of light struck the Intrepid, and a 3-dimensional image appeared on the bridge. A tall, slender being with 4 arms and skin like polished copper. Its eyes were large black orbs without pupils. "I am Admiral Tar Thol of the Galactic Hegemony's 7th Exploration Division." The alien spoke in perfect English, its mouth not matching the words. "We claim this system in the name of Emperor Zekthar, eternal ruler of the 7 species and master of 1,000 worlds." Dr. Grant stepped forward. "We welcome you to our solar system, Admiral. I am Dr. Olivia Grant of Earth. We hope to establish peaceful relations." "Peace is available through submission," interrupted the Admiral. "Your species will be categorized and assigned appropriate duties within the hegemony. Your resources will be inventoried and redistributed as needed. This is not negotiable." Captain Wright joined Dr. Grant. "With respect, Admiral, Earth and its colonies are sovereign territories. We're happy to discuss trade and cultural exchange, but your understanding is irrelevant," said Admiral Exarthol. "The hegemony has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. Primitive species do not dictate terms." Dr. Grant tried again. "Perhaps there's a misunderstanding in translation. We simply wish to—" Silence. The Admiral's image grew larger, its eyes narrowing. "Your continued resistance will be interpreted as hostility. The hegemony does not tolerate disrespect from lesser beings." Before either human could respond, the communication ended. Warning alarms blared across the Intrepid. "Energy buildup detected in the lead vessel," shouted the tactical officer. "Shields up," ordered Captain Wright. "All hands, brace for impact." A blinding beam struck the Intrepid, tearing through its shields like paper. The ship shuddered violently as systems failed throughout. "Send the emergency signal to Earth," Wright commanded as he helped an injured crew member. "They need to know what's coming." As the Intrepid burned and drifted, Communication Officer Diane Peters managed to send one final message to Earth. "First contact failed. Hostile forces inbound. Prepare for war." In his grand chamber aboard the Hegemony flagship, Admiral Exar Thold reported to a holographic projection of Emperor Zekthar. "The humans refused immediate submission, my Emperor. I have demonstrated our power as instructed." The Emperor's 6 eyes blinked slowly. "Excellent. They will surrender when our main fleet arrives. They always do. Little did the hegemony know, they had just made the biggest mistake in their 10,000-year history. Humans were not like the other species they had conquered. Humans would not surrender. And the galaxy would never be the same again. General William Parker stood before the Emergency Council, his face lit by the holographic display showing the destruction of the Intrepid. The room was silent as Captain Wright's final warning played again. "Ladies and gentlemen," General Parker said, "we have 48 hours before their main fleet arrives. That's all the time we have to prepare." "Prepare for what?" asked the defense minister. "You saw what one of their ships did to our best vessel. How can we fight that?" General Parker's eyes hardened. "We enact Protocol Thermopylae." A murmur swept through the room. Protocol Thermopylae was a contingency plan created after humans first reached Mars, a plan for facing technologically superior invaders. "Get me Samantha Cole," ordered Parker. "And all communications with our colonies go dark now. As far as the aliens are concerned, we're panicking and disorganized." 12 hours later, every factory on Earth and Mars was retooled for war production. Civilian ships were fitted with whatever weapons could be mounted. Underground bunkers, built decades ago and nearly forgotten, were quickly stocked with supplies. In her lab beneath Denver, Samantha Cole worked frantically with her team. 3 years ago, she had developed theoretical weapons based on strange phenomena observed near Neptune. Her funding was cut because the military thought her ideas were too radical. "We need to make this work," she told her team as they assembled the first prototype. "We don't need to match their technology. We just need to surprise them." On Mars, colonies disappeared overnight. Not destroyed, but hidden. Kyle Bishop, a former Marine who led Mars security, moved entire settlements into the ancient lava tubes beneath the surface. "They'll look for cities and bases," he told the frightened colonists. "So we won't give them cities to find. We'll be ghosts." 46 hours after the Intrepid's destruction, the hegemony's diplomatic vessel entered Earth orbit. Admiral Exar Thul had sent Ambassador Drexel to accept Earth's surrender. The ambassador was surprised when General Parker himself came to meet him. "I am here to discuss the terms of your planetary submission," Drexel announced, his translator making his voice sound metallic and cold. General Parker smiled. "Actually, we're not surrendering." Drexel blinked his large eyes. "That is not logical. You witnessed our technological superiority. The hegemony has conquered 1,042 species. All have submitted." "We're not them," Parker said simply. The ambassador studied the human general. "Your species profile indicated you would value survival above all. You should be begging for mercy." "Whoever wrote that profile didn't understand humans very well," Parker replied. "But you'll learn." Frustrated, Drexel returned to his ship and sent an urgent message to Admiral Exar Thul. "The humans reject submission. They appear to be preparing for conflict despite the futility of resistance." When the main hegemony fleet arrived hours later, they expected to find a primitive species cowering in fear. Instead, they found nothing. No radio signals, no visible defenses. Earth's major cities seemed abandoned. "This is unusual," Exar Thul noted as his ship moved into orbit. "Scan for life forms." "Billions detected, Admiral," his officer replied. "But they appear to be dispersed or shielded. Their electronic emissions ceased 20 hours ago." Admiral Exar Thul frowned. In 10,000 years of conquest, the hegemony had never encountered a species that went dark before invasion. It wasn't in any protocol. On his command ship, Emperor Zekthar received the reports with growing irritation. "They hide like vermin," he hissed. "This is not submission. This is not acceptable." He made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "The humans are not to be integrated into the hegemony," he commanded. "They are an aberration, a dangerous deviation from established species behavior. They are to be exterminated." As the Emperor gave his order, Samantha Cole activated her prototype weapon for the first time. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, Kyle Bishop prepared his people for a war unlike any humans had fought before. And in orbit around Jupiter, hidden from the hegemony sensors, a small team led by Captain Alan Wright, who had survived the Intrepid's destruction, prepared to launch the first counterattack. The hegemony thought the war was already won. They were wrong. Fleet Commander Kirazin stared at the holographic display showing Earth's northern hemisphere. His attack had been perfect, overwhelming force directed at major population centers. By now, the humans should be surrendering in droves. Instead, his ships were reporting strange, scattered attacks, small, fast vessels appearing from nowhere, striking and vanishing again. Ground forces meeting fierce resistance from enemies they couldn't find. "This makes no sense," he growled. "Where is their central command? Where are their defense fleets?" On a small, unmarked vessel hiding in Earth's upper atmosphere, Commander Lisa Reed checked her team's equipment one last time. 20 years as a special operations leader had prepared her for unconventional warfare, but never against aliens. "Remember," she told her team, "their ships have blind spots where their sensors can't detect our approach. They don't expect us to come to them." Using stealth technology developed in the 2 days since first contact, Lisa's team maneuvered their ship alongside one of the hegemony's destroyers. While the alien vessel fired massive energy weapons at Earth's surface, the humans attached themselves to its hull like a tick on a dog. "Cutting tools ready," whispered her second-in-command. Lisa nodded. "Begin breach." In an underground bunker beneath what was once Chicago, Ben Harper typed frantically at his keyboard. 6 months ago, he'd been arrested for hacking into government systems. Now those same government officials had given him unlimited access and a simple mission: find a way into alien networks. Their communication system uses quantum principles, he explained to the military officers watching him work. But when they try to interface with our technology, they have to translate it into something simpler. That's our way in. With a final keystroke, Ben smiled. "I'm inside their secondary communication grid. Not enough to control anything, but enough to listen." On Europa, mining colony leader Jack Fitzgerald watched as his team experimented with different Earth minerals against a piece of alien metal salvaged from orbital debris. "Try the sodium compound," he suggested. When the white powder touched the alien metal, it sparked and began to dissolve. "It's working," shouted one of the scientists. "The compound is breaking down their hull material at the molecular level." Jack immediately sent a coded message to Earth Defense. "Found weakness. Common table salt disrupts their hull integrity. Sending formula for weaponized delivery." Above Mars, Fleet Commander Kirazan's frustration grew as another of his scout ships went dark. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "They have no space fleet, no defense grid, no planetary shields." His communications officer looked up in alarm. "Sir, we're detecting breaches in multiple vessels. Small teams of humans have somehow boarded our ships." Inside one such ship, Lisa Reed's team moved silently through alien corridors. The hegemony's internal security was designed to detect energy weapons and large forces, not small teams with simple projectile weapons and combat knives. "Plant the charges at each junction," Lisa ordered. "Set timers for synchronized detonation." Across the solar system, humans fought not as the hegemony expected, with large armies and direct confrontation, but through sabotage, guerrilla tactics, and unexpected adaptability. In his command center, General Parker received updates from all fronts. They were losing ground, certainly. Cities were being destroyed. But for every human lost, the aliens were paying a steep price. "Send word to all teams," he ordered. "Continue asymmetric operations. Make them fight for every inch." On his flagship, Fleet Commander Kirazin sent an emergency message to Emperor Zekthar. "The humans fight like no species we have encountered. Request reinforcements and new tactical directives." The Emperor's reply was immediate. "The hegemony does not change tactics for primitives. Exterminate them at all costs." As Kirazin read the message, his flagship rocked violently. Throughout the vessel, the charges planted by Lisa Reed's team detonated simultaneously, crippling the massive warship. In the chaos that followed, Lisa transmitted to all human forces. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2. The war had only just begun, and humanity was just warming up. 3 months into the war, Earth was burning. Major cities lay in ruins. The Mars colonies were under constant bombardment. Despite their clever tactics and fierce resistance, humans were losing ground each day. In an underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Ryan Murphy led General Parker through heavy security doors to a hangar containing a single, strange-looking ship. "This is the Titan Project," Dr. Murphy said, his voice filled with both pride and worry. "We developed it 2 years ago, but never tested it fully. It was deemed too dangerous." General Parker circled the sleek vessel. "Dangerous how?" "The propulsion system creates a bubble of altered spacetime. In theory, it can move faster than any ship ever built. But if the bubble collapses while active, what happens?" Dr. Murphy looked grim. "Everything within 50,000 kilometers gets pulled into a temporary microsingularity." General Parker nodded slowly. "And now we're desperate enough to use it." In the pilot briefing room nearby, Maria Diaz studied the mission parameters. At 32, she was Earth's best deep space pilot, with experience flying everything from cargo shuttles to experimental craft. But nothing like this. "You understand this is likely a one-way trip," said the mission director. Maria nodded. "My family was in Boston when it was hit. I have nothing left to lose." The plan was desperate but brilliant. While Earth forces launched what appeared to be an all-out attack against the hegemony's main fleet, a suicide mission by any measure, Maria would pilot the experimental ship to Saturn's moon Titan, where humans had secretly built a research base years earlier, hidden from even Earth's own governments. At Hegemony High Command, Supreme War Architect Kelvor arrived from the Empire's capital. After 3 months of what should have been a simple extermination, Emperor Zekthar had lost patience. "These humans are nothing special," Kelvor assured Fleet Commander Curzon. "I have conquered 300 worlds without a single defeat. They use primitive trickery because they have no real strength." Curzon seemed less confident. "They adapt faster than any species we've encountered. They learn from each defeat." "Then we will give them no time to learn," Kelvor declared. "Gather our entire fleet. We will crush them in one massive assault." Meanwhile, in a hidden facility beneath the ruins of Washington, D.C., intelligence officer Peter Johnson had made a discovery that could change everything. For weeks, he had studied captured alien technology, looking for any advantage. "Their entire command structure operates on synchronized protocols," he explained to his team. "All ships receive identical orders at precisely the same time." "Why is that important?" asked one of his analysts. Peter smiled. "Because if we could disrupt that synchronization, even for a few minutes, their fleet would be in chaos," the analyst finished, eyes widening. As Earth prepared for what looked like a final, desperate stand, Maria Diaz boarded the experimental ship. The mission was simple on paper: reach Titan, activate the hidden base's prototype weapon system, and target the hegemony's command carrier. "Godspeed," General Parker told her through the communication system. "The main attack begins in 12 hours. That's how long you have to reach position." Maria nodded. "I won't let you down, sir." As her ship launched through a hidden mountain exit, the hegemony's massive fleet gathered in Earth orbit. Supreme War Architect Kelvor looked down at the battered planet with satisfaction. "Begin the final bombardment," he ordered. "I want nothing left alive." What the hegemony didn't know was that Earth's apparent weakness was part of a carefully orchestrated plan. The humans were not making a last stand. They were setting a trap. As Maria's ship accelerated toward Saturn, using the gravity of Jupiter to gain incredible speed, Peter Johnson finalized his plan to disrupt the alien command structure. And aboard the Hegemony command carrier, a hidden sabotage team led by Captain Alan Wright, rescued after the Intrepid's destruction, moved silently toward the ship's central communication hub. The humans were about to show the galactic hegemony why underestimating Earth was the biggest mistake they had ever made. Maria Diaz's ship reached Saturn's orbit in record time. The experimental drive worked better than anyone had hoped. As she approached Titan, Maria sent the activation code that would wake the hidden base from its dormant state. "Base Prometheus responding," came the reply. "We've been waiting for you, pilot." On Earth, the situation grew more desperate by the hour. Nearly every major city was in ruins. The Rocky Mountains housed the largest remaining human settlement, under the leadership of Governor Nathan Ellis. "We can't evacuate any more people," he told General Parker over a secure line. "We're at maximum capacity." Parker's face was grim on the small screen. "Hold out for just 48 more hours. That's all we need." The hegemony, frustrated by humanity's continued resistance, changed tactics. War Prince Vortax, son of Emperor Zekthar, arrived with the Planet Killer Fleet, a group of specialized ships designed to render entire worlds uninhabitable. The Emperor grows tired of this prolonged conflict. Vortax told Supreme War Architect Kelvor, "I bring his final solution." From their ships, the hegemony released clouds of engineered pathogens designed to attack human DNA specifically. Within hours, the first cases of a strange new illness appeared in survivor camps. In an underground laboratory beneath Chicago's ruins, Dr. Sandra Powell worked frantically to understand the biological weapon. As a xenobiologist, she had spent years studying theoretical alien life. Now, to save humanity, she needed to understand alien biology itself. "I need more samples," she told her team. "Not just of the pathogen, but of the aliens themselves." Lieutenant Eric Daniels, a young officer with the Special Forces, received her request. "We'll get you what you need, Doctor." That night, Eric led a small team on the most dangerous mission yet, boarding a hegemony ship not to destroy it, but to collect biological samples from the crew. 3 of his 6-person team died in the process, but they returned with what Dr. Powell needed. Under her microscope, the alien tissue revealed something extraordinary. "Their cellular structure," she whispered in amazement. "It's sensitive to specific sound frequencies, ones just outside normal human hearing range." Working day and night, Dr. Powell developed a countermeasure for the pathogen and something even more valuable, a weapon that could target the hegemony's primary species directly. Meanwhile, Maria Diaz had activated Titan Base's secret weapon, a massive electromagnetic pulse generator designed to target specific communication frequencies across vast distances. "Charging at 60%, reported the base commander. "We'll be ready to fire in 6 hours." On the hegemony command carrier, Captain Alan Wright's team had reached the central communication hub. For 5 months, Alan had worked undercover, gathering intelligence and waiting for the right moment. Now, he whispered to his team, planting the disruption devices Peter Johnson had designed. At that exact moment, Peter initiated his attack on the hegemony's synchronized systems from Earth. The combination of his digital assault and Alan's physical sabotage created the perfect storm in the alien command network. On Earth, Governor Ellis received Dr. Powell's message about the sonic weapon. Every speaker, every communication device, every piece of equipment that could generate sound was quickly modified according to her specifications. War Prince Vortax watched with satisfaction as his fleet moved into final position. "Begin the planet killer sequence," he ordered. But something was wrong. Throughout the hegemony fleet, ships stopped responding. Commands went unacknowledged. And then, across every frequency, came a sound, a simple tone that meant nothing to humans. To the hegemony forces, it was agony. "What is happening?" screamed Vortax, his hands covering his hearing organs as his crew writhed in pain. On Titan, Maria Diaz fired the EMP weapon, targeting the hegemony's command carrier. The massive pulse shot across the solar system, temporarily disabling every piece of hegemony technology it touched. For the first time since the war began, The aliens were vulnerable. All units, General Parker broadcast on the emergency channel. Operation Turning Tide is active. Attack with everything we have. Across Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies, humanity launched their counterattack. The war was far from over, but after months of desperate defense, humans had finally found a way to fight back effectively. War Prince Vortax sent an emergency message to his father. The humans are not merely resisting. They are winning. 6 months had passed since the turning point. The war that had nearly destroyed humanity was now being fought on more equal terms. With their sonic weapons and understanding of hegemony technology, humans had pushed the alien forces out of Earth's orbit. Admiral Carol Winters stood on the bridge of the Defiance, Earth's first true warship built using reverse-engineered alien technology. Around her, a small but powerful fleet of 20 similar vessels waited for her command. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said her second-in-command. Carol nodded. She had been a commercial ship captain before the war. Now she commanded humanity's best hope for lasting victory. "Send the final message to Earth," she ordered. "Operation Distant Thunder is a go." The plan was bold, perhaps foolish. Take the fight directly to the hegemony, not just their fleet, but their home world. Earth's scientists had studied captured alien star charts and found the location of the Empire's capital planet, Zarthan. In his laboratory, communications specialist Greg Foster worked frantically to complete his mission before the fleet jumped to hyperspace. For weeks, he had been intercepting and decoding hegemony transmissions. "There," he said, pointing to his screen. "These messages confirm it. The hegemony is fracturing." His superior officer leaned closer. "Explain." "Several subject species are using our war as cover for their own rebellions. The hegemony is fighting on multiple fronts now." This information was immediately relayed to Admiral Winters. The timing couldn't be better. Aboard the lead infiltration ship, Jason Miller prepared his team for what would likely be a suicide mission. Once a civilian pilot for lunar shuttles, he now led the most elite Special Forces group in the Earth fleet. "Our job is simple," he told his team. "We get into the hegemony central communication hub and plant the false orders that Admiral Winters provided." One of his soldiers looked up. "And our extraction plan?" Jason smiled grimly. "Complete the mission. That's the plan." Meanwhile, on his throne world, Emperor Zekthar raged at his advisors. For the first time in 10,000 years, the hegemony faced serious rebellion. Not just from humans, but from a dozen formerly subjugated species. "How is this happening?" he demanded. "How have these primitives inspired such defiance?" His war council had no satisfying answers. Every strategy that had worked for millennia was failing against these new threats. "The humans fight differently," one general suggested. "They adapt, and the other species are learning from them." Zekthar made a decision that would seal his empire's fate. "Recall our forces from across the galaxy. All of them. We will crush Earth once and for all, and the other rebels will lose hope." As the recall order went out, Greg Foster detected the massive communication burst. "They're pulling back their forces," he reported, "leaving their conquered worlds defenseless." Admiral Winters received this news with grim satisfaction. "Send word to Captain Wright. His team can proceed with making contact with the rebel species." Captain Alan Wright, now commanding a stealth diplomatic vessel, had spent months identifying potential alien allies. With the hegemony forces withdrawn, he could finally reach them directly. "The Cathari have responded to our message," his communications officer reported. "They want to coordinate their attack with ours." Everything was coming together. As the Earth fleet prepared for its hyperspace jump to the hegemony capital, Jason Miller's team was already infiltrating the enemy's communication hub, and Captain Wright was building a coalition of former slave species eager for freedom. Admiral Winters looked at the final countdown. "All ships, prepare for jump. Target, the heart of the Empire." The massive engines of the human fleet glowed bright blue, tearing holes in space-time itself. In an instant, They vanished from the solar system. In his imperial palace, Emperor Zekthar felt something he hadn't experienced in 1,000 years. Fear. Reports were coming in of mysterious failures throughout the capital's defense systems, and now his sensors detected unknown vessels appearing at the edge of the system. The humans had brought the war to his doorstep. The battle for the hegemony capital world lasted 3 days. 3 days that changed the course of galactic history forever. Jason Miller's infiltration team had succeeded beyond all expectations. Not only did they plant the false orders that threw the hegemony defense fleet into chaos, but they also managed to disable the planetary shield generators protecting the Imperial Palace. "The path is clear, Admiral," Jason reported over the secure channel, his voice weak from his injuries. "You can land your forces now." Admiral Winters directed the combined Earth fleet and their new alien allies in a coordinated assault. The Kthari, led by their fierce warrior queen Tilara, proved to be valuable allies, their crystalline ships absorbing energy weapons that would have destroyed human vessels. As the battle raged in space, Captain Alan Wright led a small team to the surface with a singular mission: capture Emperor Zekthar alive. "Remember," he told his team, "this ends today, one way or another." The Imperial Palace, a massive structure of gleaming metal and strange, shifting architecture, had never been breached in its 10,000-year history, until now. Emperor Zekthar watched in disbelief as his elite guards fell before the human invaders. These creatures, these primitives he had ordered exterminated only a year ago, were now storming his throne room. "Impossible," he whispered as Captain Wright approached him, weapon raised. "Surrender," Alan said simply. "It's over." For the first time in the history of the hegemony, an emperor surrendered. Back on Earth, President Julia Ramirez addressed the surviving human population from the rebuilt United Nations headquarters in Geneva. Screens around her showed representatives from a dozen alien species who had thrown off hegemony rule. "Today marks not just the end of a war," she said, her voice strong despite her exhaustion, "but the beginning of a new era for all sentient beings. Humanity fought not just for our survival, but for the right of all species to live free from tyranny." As she spoke, Ambassador Paul Hayes was already working with representatives from the former hegemony subjects to draft the Treaty of Sol. Unlike the hegemony's rule of fear and subjugation, this new alliance would be built on equality and cooperation. "Each species brings something unique to our galactic community," Paul explained as they worked. "The hegemony's mistake was seeing difference as weakness. We see it as strength." In the weeks that followed, the secrets of the hegemony were revealed. Their recorded history showed thousands of years of conquest, always following the same pattern: identify a less advanced species, demand surrender, crush any resistance quickly and brutally. But humans had broken that pattern. Their willingness to adapt, to fight in unexpected ways, to sacrifice for a future they might not live to see. These qualities had confused and ultimately defeated the once mighty empire. Admiral Alan Wright, promoted after Captain Wright's heroic actions, now commanded the new joint peacekeeping force. Standing on the bridge of his ship, he watched as vessels from Earth flew alongside ships from worlds whose names humans were just learning to pronounce. "You know what their biggest mistake was?" asked Tilara, the Kthari leader who had become his friend and ally. Alan nodded. "They thought technology made them superior. They forgot that the will to survive is the most powerful force in the universe." On Europa, where the war had begun a year earlier with the destruction of the Intrepid, a memorial was unveiled, a simple stone monument built at the exact spot where humans first detected the approaching alien fleet. The inscription read, "They came expecting conquest. They left having learned respect. In memory of those who gave everything to ensure humanity's place among the stars." As the new Galactic Council held its first meeting, with representatives from Earth sitting as equals alongside alien species from across the Milky Way, one thing became clear to all: the age of the hegemony was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And it had all started because an empire made its biggest mistake. They underestimated humans.